So Corey, first of all, ahead of a playoff final like this, talk me through what's going to happen over the course of the next 90 minutes or so for you. How do you prepare for the biggest game of the season?
Well, the guys come in. They're always here 2 hours before, and we were here. Rick and I were here at 10. Rode the bike, watched yesterday's game, checked out what they did, which is pretty typical of what they always do. And players will start rolling about 2 hours before. We'll have our meeting 20 minutes after that. Go through all systems, tactics, all the things that we're planning to do, and from then it's the coach's boring time. There's not a whole lot for us to do. We just sit around and wait, and then go out, have their warm-up and go.
Are you good with that time? What do you do to make it go a little quicker?
Just whatever I can to try and pass. A lot of pacing, really, a lot of walking up and down, and just making sure the guys are obviously moving their feet and getting their bodies ready.
What do you do when you look at Coventry? You see the fact that they've adjusted the game as the season's gone on. They're probably a very different side to the last time you played them. When you watch that game tape, what particularly jumped out at you?
Well, they had. Chuck does what he does. He plays his 1-2-2, and he collapses a lot of bodies towards net. He's typically done that for 2 years now. Didn't really work at the start of the year. He was still doing it, but he didn't have the personnel to actually execute the way he likes to coach. And as the year went on, he got more of those players to buy into, and players in to buy into what he wants to achieve and how they need to play to win with that big goaltender. So we know what they do, and it's just a matter of always going out and executing at a high level.
Chris Brewson's had a wonderful playoff series. He's an old-fashioned winger, isn't he, in many respects. How do you contain somebody like him? How do you make him a non-factor?
Just like any other good hockey player, you got to eliminate all time and space. If you give guys time to make plays and skate, then that's what they'll do. If you don't, you close them down real fast and you're physical on them, then obviously they're not as good.
Do you change anything?
Maybe, possibly. We have a number of things we like to do. Certain face-offs we like to execute against the Blaze. In terms of our structures and penalty kills and power plays, there's a couple of wrinkles we like to. But overall, a hockey team is just like a big ship. You get it pointed in one direction, it's pretty hard to stop and go a different way. It keeps cruising, so you can make minor adjustments here and there, but it's pretty tough to really turn that boat around.
Ryan Stewart has been phenomenal down the stretch for Coventry. He helped them win it last year. How do you beat him? What do you do differently against him?
Get 50 shots. That's you got to overwhelm them. We have to shoot the puck, and that's the thing with pretty indicative of a lot of my teams. They like to pass the puck around and wait for good opportunities. And I always find shooting the puck from anywhere is a good opportunity. If you don't shoot, there's no chance of it going into the net. You can onside a goaltender, you can get rebounds and all these second shot opportunities. And statistically, we talk about it all the time. Every goal is at 90%. So if you keep overwhelming them with shots, eventually it's going to go in.
Compared with the other achievements you've had at this hockey club, where would today rank?
Well, it's winning your last game of the year is huge for any. This is what I grew up with since I started playing hockey. You build your team and you work for the playoffs, and it's a little different in England. And I respect what we have going on here. I love the products that the Elite League has, but it's still people in championship level games. Teams always raise their performances in Challenge Cup finals and semifinals and playoff quarterfinals. These are when teams are playing their best. They've got their they've rested their guys. They're ready to go. They know exactly what they're doing. Their coaches are real sharp, and in those big games, we've been fairly good over there. And again, this championship means a lot to me because it's what hockey's all about. It's playoffs.
Brett Robinson. You've known him for a long, long time. How's he changed?
Oh, Brett, yeah, I've known him since he's a tiny little guy. He's always been a skilled guy. He went to, I was really proud of him when he got his, making it as a hockey player is incredibly difficult for North Americans, for Canadians, because I mean, I would assume it's parallel to soccer ball here, but for him to get out and get his opportunity to play in the NCAA, do well, and then get his first pro contract, and yeah, I'm really proud of him. I've coached him, all the little details that I see him play with. It's not purely because of me, but a lot of the culture things, the work ethic and stuff. He was always around when the bigger boys and the guys like myself who were professionals were training, and I think that that culture is deep bred inside him.
And when you look at him, is it pride that you feel? What is it? What is it you see?
Pride, but I was a little disappointed I didn't get the call when he signed for Coventry. But
Would you have taken him?
I would have considered him for sure. I mean, there's so many great hockey players, and you always have to take all the personal stuff out when you're evaluating guys. And he's a guy with he came from the East Coast League with a mid-level resume, and there's some fantastic hockey players out there in the world. So, but the biggest key what I find with all these resumes and stuff, I mean, some of the best players of this league have come from nowhere. Jordan Petrus, he was in Poland. We have Evan Mosey, who played in the Netherlands and played Division III hockey. It's these guys are, as long as you come in here and do a great job, we'll take you.
Final thought then. What will be the last words that you give the players before they leave?
Well, we talk about playing with honor. That's a big thing for us. I mean, when I watch a lot of other teams play, and certain teams play with honor, and certain teams don't. And I think if you go out there and you play as hard as you can, and you don't try and cheat the game. And again, I always bring it back to soccer ball and the diving and stuff. And I think there's way too much of that. That's why I like watching the EIHL now. They've clamped down on that. They fine people, but there's players, even big players like an Andrew Lord. You touch him, he falls down, and I just like it when guys stay on their feet and play the game the way it should be played. It's a competitive game. It's a physical game. It's a tough game, and you have to endure all these. Take your licks and keep on moving. And I think for the most part, my players do that, and I'm very, very critical if I see anything otherwise.